If I represent, yo.
I was gonna write you an email, but I'm a little drunk, and spelling is a sober person's game. So I feel I owe you an explanation. I'm sorry. Explanation.
All right. So, well, that was an adventure.
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh. This is ridiculous.
Thank you, Microsoft, you bastards. Even though I really do like Clipchamp a lot.
Can you do a background, or what are you doing?
I don't know. At this point in time, that's something maybe.
We'll figure out later. We got this far, and that took long enough.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, okay, Clickify. All right. Well, Kolinar and breathe. Which is coming up. Mwahaha. Hey, I can hear you laugh now, too.
Yay! Let's try this. Can you hear this now?
Yes!
Yeah!
Right, well,
Step in the right direction.
we should have quit Microsoft decades ago.
We should have. Screw them, guys.
Right in the ear.
Right in the ear.
Okay, well, so let's just start here with it, and we'll do a little explanation of our own, but we'll go, right?
Yes.
All right. Welcome back, my fellow Hellions, Liliths, amazing Hellions, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, along with my co-host, the Klingon to my Romulan, the Mr. Scotty to my Captain Kirk, the Pinky to my brain, Lilith Draco.
Kuvok. Hi, welcome back.
I should have said the Kalar to my Worf, but that might infer too much. So we are recording, thanks to we badmouthed Microsoft Teams quite a bit, and Microsoft in general, because the bastards got away from us, took Skype away from us, and some of us don't adapt to change. Being of a certain vintage, it's a little harder.
That is true. That is true. I was dreading this change because.
But we're using Riverside now, which looks like it might be a viable and actually preferable alternative.
Yes.
Because it's designed for this. So we'll see how this goes. But we're just going to get into this, right?
Yeah.
We've got notes. We're ready to go, ready to roll.
Yes.
Well, we can start out by, did you pre-grame at all today?
Yes.
Okay.
I always pre-grame.
What are you drinking now?
So I am drinking a Uinta Brewing Company Trop Nosh IPA. It is let me find it. Let me find it.
Let me find it.
It's an 8% IPA. It has a decent bitter, decent taste. I've had Uinta quite a few times. It's one of the few that we are supplied here in the 1800s. I don't know if I've had this one, but it's pretty decent. I don't know what the IBUs are, but it's Uinta's from Salt Lake City, 1800s. Hops. So we have a little hops, malt, body, and color right here. That's the hops. As you can see, it's full. Not so much malt. Halfway body. And color, well, color doesn't matter.
So, didn't we, when I visited the 18th century in Vernal, isn't Uinta around there too? And I know that there's a giant mammal, a Uintatherium, which I believe is from that. That's someone or somebody in that area of the world. Uinta is
I
relative.
don't I don't know it. It just says Salt Lake City. I know we did go to a brewery and they had dinosaur theme beers, but we didn't like them.
They had an
They weren't that
Allosaurus.
good.
They had an Allosaurus ale. We had that at the karaoke bar of that famous night because I had it there, and
Right.
it's a lot. It's just a lager. It's nothing. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't like
But I think we went and ate at the brewery there in Vernal. And
yes.
I
On that Friday,
remember that
we had
we
dinner.
were excited because they were all dinosaur themed, but they weren't that good. What are you drinking, X7?
I have a. I'm holding a Woody in my hand.
Nice.
It's actually a Woody's chocolate salt malt, salt and malt, spelled almost exactly the same way, but sound too different. It's a 6.7. It's a just a stout. It says just, and it's not too. There's a little tiny salt in it and a little tiny chocolate, so it's pretty good. I don't really care for flavored stouts much anymore, except for those smoke stouts, which the boy bought me.
I don't like stouts.
Yes, we're quite aware. Any more than I particularly care for IPAs.
It's true.
Interestingly enough, both of us can drink. What are those? What's that ale that we've had? That was the. What was that one? Not a farmhouse ale, which are okay. Don't know. It
I
was
don't
really
remember.
Bigfoot.
Oh, yes.
What? It's a.
I
Well,
don't remember. It's delicious.
yeah, but it had 100 or 90 or 100 IBU, and then I've had the same kind, which are not bitter at all. So it's very interesting, I find, but I don't
Nice.
remember. But this is good. I have two of them. They were in the pick a six
Nice.
spot, and if there's more, I'm probably gonna get more because since it's a school day tomorrow, and
Yes.
I have to not have a big old powerful one like I had.
That's right.
So, yeah. Well, it sounds like we've got a couple of good beers, I must say.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All right.
Well, are you leading into the topic or am I?
Well, I have my notes to start the topic. I don't really know how to lead into the topic.
Well,
Let's just go right into
watch
it.
this. I'll tell you. See
Okay.
me. You know me now as X7, but when I do this, you don't know me. I'm completely unknown.
You look completely different. Absolutely completely different, like my beloved here.
Kal-El. Actually, it's Talia that calls Batman her beloved. So
Well,
just saying. But
that's
see,
fine. He is
X7's
my
nice.
beloved, and so is he.
Yes, and he could sneeze Gambit into orbit. So
Well, yes.
and Goku too.
So if we can't tell, our topic today is secret identities. So secret identities are mostly used in fiction, but there are also real life people who use secret identities. Some of those include undercover work, such as law enforcement or witness protection. And then there are spies and secret agents. Secret agents, like X7 and his secret agents. And that includes intelligence agencies like M16 or CIA. There's also double agents, which I know you are not a double agent.
Not at all.
And double agents are individuals that infiltrate organizations or governments while working for a different organization. Some other groups that use secret identities are whistleblowers, political activists, especially in other countries where speaking out might be frowned upon or illegal. Writers and artists, and there's also people who use personal reasons. Some people have secret families. There's those that have 2 families and they keep them secret. Serial killers or other criminal activities. And then people like me who don't want their personal life interfered by their podcast, mostly because of the area that I live and me possibly sometimes speaking out against the popular religion in the state.
Lucy Harris, smart, smart, smart. Martin Harris, dumb.
So I have examples of infamous people who have secret identities. The first one is Isaac Newton. He is a physicist, as we know, and a crime fighter. There is a lady named Mata Hari. She was an exotic dancer and a spy. Then we have John Le Carre, who was an author and a spy. Gerard John Schaefer. He was a deputy sheriff and a serial killer. Those two actually work very well together. So if he could lead people down a different, a different path trying to figure out who the serial killer is. Christophe Rocancourt, I don't know if I said that right. He was a gentleman thief and con man. Sean Lawrence Waygood, he was a husband and hitman. And as fun as it would be, and I had articles and things that I could go and research all these individuals and what they actually did and their life, I think that would be fun to research and do different episodes about. But really, we're not here to talk about the real life. We're here to talk about the fiction secret identities. More so the superheroes. And so this is where I don't know quite as much. I have a list of different superheroes and their secret identities, but I believe that this is more your area of expertise.
It could be, yes. But that was very fascinating. I didn't know all of that. I didn't
either.
I knew Mata Hari, of course.
Like I said, I would really like to research those people because that would be really interesting, but that's for another few episodes.
Think about this. How many actors, especially in the past, would have name changes? They weren't They weren't born John Wayne or Tab Hunter or Rock Hudson. The studio did that. So while they're not secret identities, but nobody knew those things for years. I mean, nobody knew that John Wayne's real name was Marion.
Right.
So it's interesting that would not qualify as a secret identity, even though it was not broadcast loudly. They weren't really hiding it.
Right.
Even our favorite dumbass has gone by 2 different names.
It's true.
Two different last names anyway. And one of them isn't Kraken, but really, the original, I think one of the earliest books was the Scarlet Pimpernel. Was Sir Percy Blakeney. He was saving French nobles from the guillotine, the well-deserved guillotine.
Yes.
But he was the good guy saving them, but he went by the Scarlet Pimpernel, and it was important that he was not found out that he was helping them, because he would have gotten his head cut off.
He would have, yeah.
While he's presented in the book, he's presented as the good guy for saving these rich people. History shows, maybe he probably should just minded his own business. But that's one of the first times, if not the first, where that particular, the secret identity was used. It was then followed much more famously by Zorro, Don Diego de la Vega. And he needed a secret. He was playing the fop, and Sir Percy was also a fop, a man of leisure who had money and didn't know what to do with it and was pretending to be idle while at night he was daring and wearing a mask that no one could see past, once again. So, but he changes
Completely different person.
but he changes personality enough. And a lot of times, even, I mean, you'll see, even with people you know, and you'll say, well, they look bigger on the screen, or you think they would be bigger, and then in real life they're not. So people would think, if you've got a mask on and you've got a sword, you're going to be bigger than life.
Yes.
So that's one of the ways they can get away with not, and then having a completely different personality, which would lead to a whole nother mess of issues if they kept doing it for any length of time. Hello, Batman. Hello, Moon Knight. Hello, Daredevil.
Well, and if you're gonna have to keep portraying that secret identity, you have to be prepared to take on those qualities and consistently be that person instead of having the true you leak into it and have things change. It takes a lot of work to keep that secret identity.
So after Zorro was a big hit, and that was in 1918-ish, early part of this, I mean, over 100 years ago, because his first story is in the public domain now, so anyone can publish it. And it's really good, the book is. And the movie's that one with Douglas Fairbanks, even though it's silent and in black and white, and some people probably wouldn't want to watch it. It's really good because he literally does all his own stunts. They didn't have stuntmen back then. He was athletic and charismatic. But that became the trope because when in the 30s, in the Depression, when the pulp magazines came out, and that would be the Shadow, who had his real identity was never really known, but he had like 4 or 5. The Spider had at least 3, and he killed people. He was just mowed bad guys down. The Shadow, the Spider, the Black Bat, one of 2 bat-themed characters that happened before the other guy. So all them, the Green Hornet was on the radio. The Lone Ranger didn't really have he was only the Lone Ranger, except when he disguised himself as a prospector and went into town to see why Tonto got beat up again. So that the trope was there. And in those first ones, they were always genteel men of leisure who had money that were putting their vast resources towards helping mankind. Now, Doc Savage, the man of bronze, who had his own Fortress of Solitude in 1931, did not have a secret identity. Everyone knew who he was. He had his 5 assistants. None of them had secret identities. But generally, the Shadow had his girlfriend, Margot. The Spider had his girlfriend, Nita, and his driver. They did have a circle of people who knew who they were, outside, so they could cover for them if need be. So that just carried on from the pulps, and then when Superman hit, he wanted to he was using Clark Kent was the actual secret identity at first, even though you're raised as Clark Kent, you wasn't raised as Superman. But that, I could digress, and we'll be here for the rest of the night, and neither of us want that. But that became standard in superheroes. But almost all of them, had somebody else, a sidekick that knew who they were. Captain America had Bucky. Also, most of the State Department knew Steve Rogers. And this is even in the 40s comic book. Hawkman had Hawkgirl. The original Flash, his girlfriend knew he was the Flash, found out he had super speed before he became the Flash.
Is that Barry Allen?
That was Jay Garrick. Iris was a reporter, just much like Lois Lane, who didn't figure out Barry Allen was the Flash for decades. But now they've kind of retconned these women to be smarter than that.
It's good.
Yeah, thank God. And they've done it. But since the 40s, and it became a trope in the 50s, and it just carried on. Wonder Woman had a secret identity. Why did she need one? She didn't need one, except to be near that dork Steve Trevor.
Diana Prince.
Yes. But because she was Princess Diana, before Princess Diana was Princess Diana. And it just happened. And in the '60s, they had this the Silver Age revival of the DC heroes, kept all the secret identities. Even though if you're Green Lantern and you're a space man assigned to patrol a certain sector, what on earth? You didn't need to stay on Earth. You weren't even supposed to. But you got to be relatable to the kids at that time. That's all they were thinking. But they
John
started,
Stewart.
right. John Stewart actually did not have a secret identity.
Oh.
He didn't even wear a mask.
But he was Green Lantern.
He was the third Earth Green Lantern. But so, and some of the alien Green Lanterns didn't have eyes to wear masks. But in the '60s, Stan Lee, when he and Jack Kirby co-created the Fantastic Four, Stan was said, I don't want secret identities. They're cumbersome. I mean, they can be a good plot device if used properly. The Fantastic Four didn't have secret identities. Everyone knew who they were. I mean, the whole secret identity thing was, I've got to keep this a secret so the bad guys won't go after my loved ones.
Right.
But then you kept it secret from your loved ones, which, is keeping a secret. Like, you don't keep secret. As Interesting Day proved, you shouldn't keep secrets from the people that mean the most to you, because they'll help. I mean, most of them. I mean, but in the '60s, even DC moved away from that with the Doom Patrol. They didn't have secret identities because they were just freaks, according to them. Challengers of the Unknown. The Metal Men were just robots. Robots didn't need secret identities. So they started to experiment, even the big two. When I talked about Dynamo, the Thunder Agents were government agents. They were actually United Nations agents, and they didn't have secret identities. They sometimes wore masks to protect their eyes and things like that when they were moving at super speed. But they still took their uniforms off and went home and were just regular people.
Yeah.
They started to realize it, but then in the '70s, it's like when Stan stopped writing, and they just kind of fell right back into the constant use. Even though Alfred knew who Batman was, Superman's parents in various versions knew who he was. Lana Lang figured it out because she wasn't an idiot. Of course, she is a redhead, so. Be that as it may, our secret identity, and now, once this truly modern superhero age hit, actually the Hulk didn't really have a secret identity, but no one could believe Puny Banner was the Hulk. But once the modern age hit and Tony Stark said, I am Iron Man, and that E chord hit for the song, that just kind of said, okay, it was a dumb idea. It's kind of a dumb idea for the most part. I mean, Steve Rogers did, Captain America in the movies doesn't have a secret identity.
No.
Thor doesn't, because he's just Thor. He's
Thor, yeah.
He wasn't, lame Dr. Blake to learn humility. That was the reason that Odin did that to him, which was a good reason, but it got to be a crutch. That the 60-minute he could. Well, anyway, I got all verklempt.
What about Selena Kyle? Did she keep her secret identity?
No, not even if she was a bad guy. Remember, Catwoman was, as all Catwomen,
well,
especially ones that show up at Halloween parties, are evil.
I know, but I wasn't sure if she still kept that secret identity.
No, because she gets caught right away and sentenced to probably not Arkham, because she's not a cuckoo. She's just a cat burglar.
Okay. I also wanted to bring up Catwoman. So.
I know you did, because you're evil. As in fruits of the devil.
Evil.
I needed a double drink for that one. But now, I mean, the villains never get to keep their secret identities for the most part, except for the Green Goblin till issue 39 of Spider-Man, when he was outed, so to speak. But for the most part, the bad guys never did, because they got defeated and either killed, and they found out who they were, or put into jail. Except for the Joker, because no one ever knew, because he was nuts. Sort of. Depending on if you believe the three Joker theory. Which I'm not going to get into, because that's ridiculous. And I just think now our secret identities passe for the most part. I mean, Marvel made a lot of movies with people taking their masks off every 5 seconds to make sure we knew who they were, who was playing them. Stupid.
Yes.
Like
Well,
we'd find
yeah.
out. But so that was. I mean, I like the idea. I like the concept. I think it's fun that you can pull a mask over your face and put a costume on, and you're not who you are. You get to be some inner you that you want, that wants to be, go do the right thing and without fear of repercussion, because you might have to bend some laws. But then Dirty Harry did that, and he just shot people without ignored due process, much like Batman, except Batman doesn't generally kill people. So Batman needs a secret identity because the Joker, well, according to many theories, the Joker knows who he is already, because the Joker may be crazy, but he's not stupid. But so many people wouldn't believe a fop, because the Mark of Zorro had a huge influence on Bob Kane and Bill Finger. So I don't know. I'm hit or miss with this, because I grew up with secret identities. It was a thing. It was fun for us to, run into the come out into the closet and come out a different person. Yeah, I said it on purpose. And capes and masks are
Well,
fun.
yeah.
Colorful costumes. But the X-Men, they didn't have secret identities, although they wore masks so they could go out and about and use code names. But they all knew who each other were. I mean, if your name was Remy LeBeau, you probably want to just go by Gambit, right?
Absolutely.
Sugar?
I mean, as a big a fan as I am, I will agree to that. Nobody wants to go by Remy LeBeau.
I wish I could remember that line that Deadpool said to him about his accent. But Rogue never didn't even have does she even have a name? She didn't have a memory. She didn't know anything about who she was.
I don't remember. I didn't care. I mean, I liked her, but I didn't really care if I knew much about her. Like she was there and she was fun, but that's about as far as it went for me.
And Wolverine, we only knew him by Logan for a.
Right. Does he have a last name or is it just Logan?
He has a first name, but it's not Garfield, because Garfield Logan is Beast Boy from DC.
Oh, Logan's his last name. I always have figured it was his first name.
Maybe his last name's Paul.
No.
Yeah, if there's somebody I'd like to see Wolverine punch in the face, he's one of them. But I don't know if it's first or last name. Somebody in the comments will let us know. Did we tell people to like, share, and subscribe?
No, let's do that now. Please like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment.
If you know Logan's first or last name, let us know. Sasha at Casually Comics would know. She'd be able to tell us, but I don't. I only ever knew him as Logan. I knew a Nightcrawler's name was Kurt Wagner. That was easy because I liked Nightcrawler. But Logan, yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the Marvel heroes, Doctor Strange, he had his name was built in, so his superhero name. But he never operated. Of course, if you got into the Sanctum Sanctorum he had all those mystic defenses out, and his cape would probably beat the crap out of you first. So
yeah.
I mean, and now I don't know. I haven't read many modern comics, but Superman and Batman have known each other's identities for since the 40s at least. I mean, off and on, but they always find out. So I do think Batman needs an identity because of what he does. And Spider-Man probably does.
How many people know who Spider-Man is?
Well, nobody now because of the spell that was. Oh, you didn't watch the movie. Greatest Spider-Man movie ever. It's got a Daredevil. It's got a Daredevil cameo in it. Oh, so good.
Yeah. You'll tell me about it. There's no need to watch it.
I don't know. There might have been qualities coming out of that movie at various
Then
times.
I will only watch it with you, not by myself. I won't see the qualities if I watch it by myself.
Yeah, Spider-Man's rough with me, so because I always know it's going to happen, and it doesn't help. Anyway, before qualities come out just by thinking about it, stupid other movie that didn't watch it all recently. The book alone was bad enough.
You held it together. I heard moments where you could have lost it, but you stuck through it and you held it together, and pretty proud of you after that.
I nailed the landing.
You did.
So, what do you think? Are secret identities passe? I'll give you a chance to talk.
Well, as so when I think of secret identities and superheroes, of course I always go to Superman because he just really for me is the best.
Well,
and as much as I have always loved him, even as a child, I never understood how he got away with his secret identity. Because it's hilarious to joke about, but really, glasses and a little curly, like that's just, it doesn't change. And I just never understood why nobody saw it. Who cares if he fumbled around as Clark Kent? How do you not see it? And how do you, I mean, so in instances like that, I think it's kind of stupid. But in cases like Batman, where he is actually masked and suited up and going out there and fighting crime, I like those secret identities more than what they did with Superman.
That's a good point. In the 80s, after the well-meaning but sorrowful Crisis on Infinite Earths kind of ruined everything. They rebooted Wonder Woman and Superman. I say rebooted; they just started them over. But when he got to with Clark, because he was raised as Clark, but he realized that if he was going to be doing super stuff, he had to have a different. He couldn't go around as Clark because nobody would leave him alone ever, which is understandable. And when he got there and foiled one of Lex Luthor's plans, Lex like, I have to find out who this Superman person is, and did. And he put it through his big old giant, 16 megabyte computer.
Mm-hmm.
And the computer spit out, and he actually got a picture of him that Superman heard with his super hearing, and decided that he always has his face vibrating at just enough to make a picture blurry, which he learned, which the Flash did too, incidentally. But Lex Luthor put it in his computer and got all this information, and it spit out Superman as Clark Kent. And Lex could not believe that a human being, because they didn't know, they hadn't figured out this. So nobody with the power of a god would want to act like a human. Because he can't imagine that. So he said this information's useless. There's no way that Clark Kent is Superman. And that's because of Superman's upbringing, because he had good parents who taught him right and taught him to do the right thing, even though he is the ultimate illegal alien.
Mm-hmm.
But he had the information, and he could not believe that someone with all the power, and they had significantly, I was born in the year of the snake, I get this, significantly downplayed his power. He could no longer move planets. He couldn't travel through time. They got rid of crypto. Still salty about that. And I mean, so they didn't make him quite as super. He wasn't like a super god man. He was a Superman instead of just Superman. But he had Lex, who's one of the smartest people in that DC universe, had the information there and could not fathom how a human being, any mortal man, would be happy living life and wanting to have a girlfriend who was obnoxious as hell and treated him like dirt, called him Smallville all the time. So I can see that. But I mean, like I said, Lana figured it out right away. You left Smallville. Superman showed up in Metropolis same time you did. Duh.
Well, she's smart, but so at the same time, I do appreciate the secret identity because I understand you don't want everybody to know who you are because then you'll, get bugged when you go out or ridiculed or,
What have you?
I do know though that even though there are characters who keep their secret identity for a long time, it always comes out. Eventually, some may take longer than others, but eventually they do come out. But sometimes I still do enjoy that secret identity because for me, wanting to have that myself, knowing eventually people, when they start watching us, will figure it out. I'll be prepared for that down the road, but I understand why in the meantime certain characters do keep that secret identity.
And most of my friends know who I am. I mean, there's reasons, and part of me is like, no, I really want to keep wearing the mask. It's the real me.
I do see on as a downfall is I can't promote me or us to the people that I know because then that would ruin it, that would spoil it.
Somebody would say something.
Right. So in that way, it's for our situation, it makes it more difficult. Okay. Whereas like a fictional superhero, it might be more of a benefit than
I would say nobody cares, but some fictional superheroes have fans that are nuts. So
yeah.
they're fruitier than a nut cake. Well, I think that's covered it pretty well. So, my fellow agents, our fellow Hellions, and viewers who've left comments, we love them. This is X7. I'll be phasing out along with
Lilith Draco.
Bye.
Live long and prosper.
I got beer.
I got bottled breast milk.
Why don't we start with the beer?
Okay.
Do you like the beer?
I do. Although it's actually a lager.
Huh. What's the difference between beer and lager?
I don't know. We could look it up.